Gary then, pre-Plymouth away. Gary, let's start with the business at the end of the transfer window. James Jennings has gone to Morecambe. What was the thinking there?
Well, I'd arranged with my wife and my granddaughter to go to a show in Bristol, and that was where I was when my phone started buzzing. Didn't expect to do any business, to be honest with you, but I got a call from James's agent to say there's been interest from Morecambe, and would you allow him to go? And I said, well, does he want to go? And he said, well, we discussed it because, to be honest, another club came in for him about a week ago, and he decided that he wanted to stick around here and fight for his place. So I just said to the agent, well, look, at the end of the day, if he wants to go, I understand going for 6 months because, or whatever it is now, 4 months, because he's not been playing regular games here, and that's what a 28-year-old wants to do. I couldn't guarantee that he'd be in the team this week, next week. I just said, like everyone else, you're just going to have to compete for your place. Now, obviously, we've all seen the rise of Cranners. Jordan Cranston. He come back strong from the summer, and hasn't looked back, and has been playing very, very well. So, it was one of them situations. I've got to think about it. Once the player, you have to tell players, because often, as in this situation, they know before you do. But I said, look, if it's something that he'd be comfortable with, then at least he'd be getting games that he needs and wants, and then he can come back to us in January having played those games. So, it wasn't us moving anybody out. It was needs must. It was a player that wanted to get some regular first team games.
I suppose what you've got to think of now is what the contingency plan is if anything happens to Jordan Cranston. Is there any sort of injury recall with it?
No, there isn't. And I've gone through all that in my head, knowing that we've got cover, in my opinion, in the squad, in that position. If you want me to name him, Dan O'Shaughnessy can play there. He's comfortable in a left back left sided role. Bart's played with Swindon most of his games at left back. We've got, if Downsy comes back in, and we got Suleiman comes back in, and we got 2 extra centre halves, and therefore we've got O'Shaughnessy could easily move across there. So we got cover. In my opinion, we got cover, and also we got a couple of little things going on outside the club that we're thinking about, of players that are free agents, and there's quite a lot of them at the moment, funny enough, because players that have missed the boat are going, oh, I won't say the word, but I haven't got a job, and all of a sudden you get more phone calls. So you can sign players still outside the windows as long as they were out of contract during the windows.
You said after Blackpool you might move to plan B if plan A looked like it wasn't going to happen with Jeffrey Monacana. What is the situation there?
Well, again, Paul Godfrey's the one, really. I was still up the mountains singing to the sound of music. So when Paul Godfrey was working hard with the Romanians and trying to get the letters and the information that our FA requires, and getting information out of there is very, very difficult at the moment. I think they've had their big signings. They had a few signings to do, but all we need is a bit of paper that says a particular one line, and then bang, it can be done. So, but as we stand, I've just asked him to check, just so I could come into you and say, oh yeah, it's all done, but it's not. And that deadline, which I never quite told everybody, but I've got the deadline in my head, is very close now.
There's a game this weekend as well, Plymouth away, another long trip against a team who, looking at the table, they're probably about where you'd want to be.
Yeah, I mean the difference is 3 points, and if we beat them, we go above them. So that's how close it all is at this stage of the season. Two very, very important away games we got: Plymouth and Newport. Is that right? And looking at them, if we can come out of those unscathed, then we'll be in a nice position going into the 4 home games in 5 coming up. So it's all to play for. The Crew result put us back in the fray, really, with the sort of playoff group and even the promotion group. So we don't want to fall too far behind if we can help it. And these games would be really important to us to make sure that after 10 games, as I always say, we're in a challenging position.
Presumably you managed to take more from the Crew game than the Blackpool game into this match then?
Well, I take a lot from every game. You know, Tim Bell does a fantastic job, does a job of 5 men at other clubs, you know, in the review of these games, and the lads get all their individual games sent to them, so they all know how well they've done. We know how well they've done. We get a review in here of the highlights, but we all see the full game as well, music included, which was a joke, by the way. That's another thing. So that information, we know which players have done it, which players didn't quite do it, which players look confident, which players don't look confident. So in a way, the Blackpool game is just as good as the Crew game for us to see who's ready to go. Go on in, we'll put you in against Plymouth.
Daniel O'Shaughnessy went off through illness. How is he?
Well, I haven't seen him this morning, but I'm hoping that illness hasn't lasted a couple of days. I should think he was tucked up in bed yesterday and recovering. But, you know, the players have gels before the game, and if you haven't had gels before, then sometimes it can disagree with you and upset your stomach. So we think it could be that. So he won't be taking those gels for a little while, just to make sure that it's not them that upset his stomach.
Everyone else okay?
Yeah, well, everyone that we've had a little bit of good news from Dan Holman's camp, in as much as that the specialist feels it's not an 8-week situation, it's only half that, and it could be even sooner once he's done the op. He's not going to put him in a plaster of Paris. This is, you know, the latest sort of thing. So with a bit of luck, with the games from Saturday to Saturday for a little while, he won't miss that many games, and he'll be pleased with that, and he'll be back sooner than we thought. So that's good news.
Yeah, well, I suppose that must just give everyone a lift, especially with what you were saying about the finishing, and we know Dan Holman can finish.
Yeah, he can finish, and you know, it just shows you can get a finisher in a team, and he'll win your games just by one chance, one goal. Obviously, he proved that last year. We got to, you know, start getting our strikers scoring goals. The other night, that was my whole gripe, really. I mean, nobody means to miss a goal, of course, but at the moment we look a bit floppy with our feet. There's nothing really smashing the back of the net. We scored a great goal. It was a great, well-worked goal, but I want to get those scrappy goals where people are inside the box, spin and smash it in the back of the net, or somebody gets put in and he opens himself up and passes it in the corner of the net. You know, we need that sort of quality at the minute. And at Plymouth, it was 23 chances actually when we look at it, and now we haven't scored more than one on that day. I do not know, and that's disappointing. Although that happens sometimes, so it just means we got to make sure that we go over the technique of shooting. I know it sounds stupid to people that are 25s and 26s, but and just get them with something else in their mind. It's a psychological thing that once you've missed a couple, you're thinking miss in your head rather than goal, and we got to get their mentality back to goal. I'm going to score, you know, and that's what we're going to try and do over the next couple of days.
Thank you. Good luck.
No problem.
Does that count for all the strikers. Danny particularly has been exceptional in his performances. Just needs that goal now.
Well, he does. I mean, to be fair, Parr's missed one of the easier ones as well. He went the one that he smashed over the bar. You know, a little bit more calmness, and he could have just sort of tucked it in. Yet he had to hit it quick. You know, Morgs had a few, but yeah, it's, you know, the work rate's great from Billy and Danny. But as I've always said, I know those two have got goals in them, and they will score goals, and they will get their 10 goals, you know, before Christmas time, hopefully. And as soon as you get that first one, then that's that sort of monkey off your back, if you like, and you don't panic then when you go to score the next one, sort of thing. But I'll get them doing a lot of finishing in the next few days, and hopefully we can get them confident to get in. First of all, you've got to get in the danger area. Second, you've got to have the quality of ball in here. This is everyone, not just the strikers. And then you've got to have that passion to put the ball in there, and bravery to put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah. You made a lot of having a busy August. That now finishes with you're not going to Tuesday games for a while, which must be I imagine a blessed relief. But does it make that almost feel like you're in the meat of the season there? That the start's out of the way, and now it's sort of the nuts and bolts.
We knew August was going to be tough, you know, especially when we had the injuries that we had. That music's going to start now. Because of missing out on your better players with a small squad, not better players, but with your more experienced players that have played in the first team more regular. You know, without them, your squad was a little bit depleted. So we was, you know, there was lads on the line. We didn't quite make the 7 subs on all occasions. So, you know, we as they start coming back, our squad will look stronger now, with more days in between for rest and work. You know, you can't work the lads when they're playing Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday. You know, you can't run them, you can't get the extra, and gradually their resources. Everyone, it's not just us, by the way. You know, everyone was in that boat, but everyone's, you know, come out with injuries and that. So maybe they need to, you know, the powers that be need to look at it definitely and say, well, 8 games in August, you know, and might be a bit strong for the start of the season.
Obviously, after Saturday, you've got the
9 actually. Yeah. We ended up playing 9, I think.
After Saturday, you've got the reserve game Tuesday. Obviously, you prefer to play Carl Storer and Aaron Downs in that. I imagine you'd like to play Jeffrey in that as well.
Yeah.
Would you be looking at maybe bringing trialists in out of those out-of-contract players for that as well?
I think we can look at that. We won't do wholesale trialists because we want this Central League to be a good development area for our younger players. People like Lim and Matty Bauer, and obviously Pagey when he gets back from injury. A couple of the older lads that are in the youth team need to be seen with the subs of your first team. And I'm looking forward to those games because that will give them that match sharpness, the ones that are not playing regular. And now we're playing the Saturday, then obviously the lads will be going into games hopefully a bit sharper as well. But there's less chance of injury when there's 2. It's the Saturday rather than a game on a Tuesday in between as well.
What have you made of the transfer window as a whole with this new change of no emergency loans? Have you noticed it being a bit more manic for clubs down the leagues as well?
I spoke to a couple of managers this morning. Obviously, I'm in touch with Lee all the time anyway, but talking to other managers that just want to talk about it, it's manic. It really is manic. Because it's such a long term now. Before, you didn't have to panic because you could get anyone on loan for 28 days, and then, you know, which was, in my opinion, a better system. But that's not our FA's fault. That's FIFA, I think, you know, pulled the plug on being able to do that. So because it's a 6-month thing, you've got to have enough people in your squad to go 6 months with the injuries that you know you're going to get, etc. etc. So everybody's taken on more players. There's a lot of people took more chances because often they're getting in numbers. Everybody was after the same people almost, you know, and it was unbelievable. And then obviously the Premier League boys that have got the money, the ones that have got the money got their player sort of thing, you know. So it's and because of the money in the game, it's not their own money. So it's a bit more like Monopoly, that people spend 30 million just like that now, don't they? And so it was really manic. And over the years, it's always, you know, my missus, I know I mention her a lot, but she hates transfer deadline day, hates it. And that is why she booked The Sound of Music for me.
So that the hills are alive with the sign of transfers.
Well, correct, very good, mate, very good.
I noticed how Lee took a player from or Lee sent a player to Plymouth, so you must have been a bit fuming about that.
No, I wasn't. No, I wasn't fuming, because anything that you know, Lee sends out, we'd have had a look at first, and I didn't feel that we needed him at the time, but obviously somebody else does, and it's all about what you've already got. What you can't do is bring somebody that's his age and experience and not put him in the team. We can bring in, you know, John Smithy, who I thought done well up at Blackpool, and he'll get better and better. He's more development, and we're helping him develop, while he's another number for us, while we can give him little, you know, games here and there, and maybe a couple of starts, you know, like we've done. So no, I know everything that's coming out of it.
Funny, you mentioned on Tuesday that Dates had a bit of a bang to his foot and he was out of Blackpool. Is that going to be okay for Saturday?
No, he would have been out anyway for Saturday. So we took the opportunity to give him a little injection that he needed for his hamstrings, funny enough. And Gav made the call that he didn't think his foot, because he took some stick against, who did we play?
Crew.
Against Crew.
Is that be a problem for him, because of the way he plays,
Yeah.
that he seems to
Well,
get
he's also,
kicked?
Yeah, well, he's going to be picked out as well,
Yeah.
isn't he? Because he's, you know, but anyway, so we think the injection will help recover his hamstrings, and then that takes 2 weeks anyway, so he'll be available after Plymouth, but probably not for Plymouth. Unless it's miraculous, but we don't think so.
But that gives, ironically, the week after you've got midfield options coming out of everywhere when Stoz is back. But
correct.
This is the last week that may be a bit more stretched in.
In that area. But I'm going to be pleased with what I select. I don't feel we're weak at the moment. You know what I mean? So going into this Plymouth game, I'm looking forward to it.
How's Munsey? Is he?
Yeah, he'll be training as normal now, which is good. That gives him. He's obviously got to get a little bit of sort of fitness and sharpness and all that sort of thing, but yeah, he's back nice and lively as he was. And the minute he starts chattering and messing about with Billy, then you know he's back to normal.
So he should play Tuesday in the reserves?
Yeah, he will. Yeah, that'll be a game for him, and as you say, a few others, and so that'd be nice to see them all out there and see where they are.
Excellent.
No problem.
Cheers, Gary.
All right.
Thanks, Gary.
Thank you.